Max Verstappen, for the first time ever, is champion of the world!
Terrifying. There is no stopping him. He can be the best of all time. These are not fans, these are not journalists, these are world champions. Men who raced at 200 miles per hour for a living. Men who have seen everything this sport can produce, and they are reaching for words they almost never use. Because Max Verstappen is not supposed to be possible. 19 wins in a single season. A record that stood for a decade gone, 4 world championships before his 27th birthday. Teammates in the same car, with the same tires, the same strategy finished seasons 200 points behind him. Not once, every single time. His own engineers stopped being surprised. That's when you know it's different. But there are 6 legends who said it best. From a 1997 world champion, revealing what separates Max from every driver on the grid, to the man who called him the best of all time and meant every word. Starting with Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton, 7 world championships. The man who lost one of the most controversial title fights in F1 history to Verstappen on the final lap of the final race. If anyone had every reason never to say a kind word, it's him. He didn't watch Verstappen from a distance. He raced him, wheel to wheel, for an entire season. Hamilton's own words cut through any bias. He called Verstappen's ability undeniable, saying he does an amazing job and he can't fault him, from the man who lost a championship to him. That's not generosity, that's a concession. Late 2024, Qatar Grand Prix. When told Verstappen had won, Hamilton's reaction was pure disbelief. Max won? Holy sh! Not because it was impossible. Because even Hamilton still can't quite believe it when it happens. He does an amazing job. I can't fault him. If the rival who fought him hardest can't find the flaw, no one can. But one man looked deeper not at the results, but at what was driving them. Villeneuve, 1997 world champion, not a man known for handing out praise. The popular argument that Red Bull's machinery explains Verstappen he dismisses directly. The margins at the front of the grid are tiny, a tenth, half a tenth. That's not domination. The driver is the domination. What separates Verstappen, in Villeneuve's reading, is what happens outside the car. He gets out and is still in it. Still thinking, still analyzing, still on the simulator when others are elsewhere. Villeneuve names this specifically. Alonso gets a mention as the only comparable example of that obsession. 24 hours a day. He's never getting tired. If they all focused like Max, then maybe they would be at Max's level. But focus alone doesn't explain what the next witness saw. Irvine. Irish, direct, notoriously hard to impress. He raced at the front of F1 himself and nearly won a championship. His praise cost something. Irvine says Verstappen keeps a race pace that no teammate in the same car can approach. He reaches for the highest comparison he knows, Michael Schumacher. Irvine introduces a caveat. The aggressiveness, the mistakes it produces. He names Leclerc as a contrast, younger in some ways, but more mature in his calculation. That reservation isn't weakness in the argument, it's precision. He's saying Verstappen has even more headroom, that what you're watching isn't the ceiling yet. 2016 Belgian Grand Prix. Verstappen, the crash involving both Ferraris, the refusal to accept fault. Irvine watched that and drew conclusions. He has been given a lot of talent. One man watched Verstappen's teammates up close. His conclusion was simpler and darker. Scheckter, 1979 world champion, now 73, has no career to protect, no politics to navigate. He watches every race and says exactly what he sees. Lewis Hamilton, who Scheckter rates as a great driver, was beaten to a title by one of his teammates. None of Verstappen's teammates come close. That asymmetry is Scheckter's evidence. The Sergio Perez comparison. Same car, same equipment. Scheckter points to Perez's results as the control group. What Verstappen extracts from the machinery, especially in complicated situations, strategy under fire, reading what's happening behind him, is categorically different. It is Verstappen in every situation, including the very complicated ones, who manages to come out on top. Another man, one who has won more world championships than almost anyone alive, watched that evolution happen in real time. And what he noticed wasn't the results, it was the change in the man. Prost, 4 world championships, perhaps the most analytically precise driver in the history of the sport. His assessments are not emotional, they are structured arguments. He describes the before and after. The earlier Verstappen, the impatient kid who ended up in the wall, who complained loudly in free practice. Prost watched that driver. Then he watched what happened through the battle with Hamilton in 2021 and watched that version of Verstappen disappear. What replaced it? A driver who still strives for perfection every day, who still pushes at the absolute limit, but whose anger is no longer leaking into his judgment. The complaints on Friday mornings are now specific, technical, controlled. That's a different kind of dangerous. 3rd championship in a row. Prost notes that only a small handful of names in history have achieved that, evidence of what Verstappen has built, not just what he was born with. He has developed his skills in such a way that he'll never stumble and would always want more. Prost measured data and drew conclusions. The next witness measured something harder to quantify, and he started as a critic. Lauda, 3 world championships, returned to racing 6 weeks after nearly burning to death at the Nürburgring. His threshold for what constitutes a problem is not the same as other people's. Lauda in 2016, watching the Belgian Grand Prix, watching Verstappen walk away from contact with both Ferraris and insist it wasn't his fault. Lauda's response was not measured. He said Verstappen belonged in a mental institution. The reversal. Before Lauda died, the assessment had changed completely, not softened, reversed. He placed Verstappen among the best drivers he had ever seen in Formula One. The same man. The same sport, different driver. Lauda was not a man who changed his mind to be polite. He changed his mind because the evidence changed. If he succeeds, he can be the best of all time. Pause on that. A man who survived things most people cannot imagine looked at a 26-year-old and said, "Best of all time." There is one witness left. He was Ayrton Senna's teammate, Senna's closest friend. He is the man whose standard for greatness has always been the highest in the paddock, and he has started to move it. Berger, teammate to Senna at McLaren, has spent 30 years holding Senna as the unreachable reference point, not a benchmark to chase a different category entirely. Berger doesn't do this lightly. He acknowledges his own position. He has always named Senna as the greatest of all time. That was not a casual statement. It was load-bearing. He places Verstappen on the same level, and then does something more unsettling. He hints that Verstappen might be beyond it. His reasoning: Senna made mistakes. Verstappen, in Berger's observation, does not in the same way. Wet, dry, fast tracks, slow tracks always at the front. I think he and Senna are drivers we will remember forever. Slow down here. Let that land. The man who knew Senna best, who shared a garage with him, he's saying that name in the same breath. 9 seasons in Formula One, 4 consecutive championships, the testimony of every man in this video, 7 men, 7 different eras, perspectives, and frames of reference. A 7-time world champion who lost to him and still can't fault him. A man who nearly died for this sport. The teammate of the driver who redefined it. They were not easily impressed. They did not hand this out. What does terrifying mean coming from men like these? The word terrifying in Formula One has always been earned. These men know what it costs to use it.